All right, so it is the day before the Raw Dawg 100 challenge where I will be eating exclusively raw meat, mostly beef, raw eggs from chickens for the most part, raw dairy from mostly cows, and raw honey, of course, from bees and not wasps.
I'm trying to smoke these hornets to death so I can get their honey.
I've already made a video explaining why I'm doing this and my logic behind it. This is sort of just a mental state and where I'm expecting this to go the day before. So today is September 3rd. I'm starting tomorrow, September 4th. Today has already been mostly a raw day. This is raw milk, raw honey, and raw eggs with a little bit of salt. Tastes delicious. Where I'm at mentally going into this, as I explained in the previous video, I'm expecting a pretty big hit to, or I guess a decrease to the amount of dopamine that I will be getting from food. Most of the time when we eat something like chocolate or sweet, refreshing fruits, or even something like this that's sweet and creamy and almost like a milkshake, we get a bit of a dopamine release. Foods like raw beef and raw eggs have little to no dopamine released, at least from what I've experienced and what I've heard others experience, especially on the carnivore diet. Of course, I'm not doing the carnivore diet since I do have honey involved as well. But with that said, I think there will be a hit to the amount of dopamine that I will be receiving from food, which will have an effect on my mood if I let it and if I don't adapt to it. So by that, I mean, again, like I discussed in the previous video, that it will reveal flaws or holes in my life that are not really fulfilling me to the max. So food will no longer be much of an option to give me hits of dopamine. So I will have to find it through being creative, through working hard, through working out, through getting sun, through enjoying life outside of food. So that's one thing I'm expecting. I also took a bit of a shroom trip 2 days ago, and I was really filled with a lot of joy. It wasn't much to get me, sky high or anything, just a little bit to get some different sort of wavelengths of thought going through my head. And I really am excited for what this can do. I really think this will be the pinnacle of health that I have ever experienced in my entire life. I think the bounce back from vegan to eating meat was a pretty significant jump, and I don't think anything will compare to that jump, but I think this will be the highest I have ever been. The best I've ever felt was when I was consuming a lot of raw eggs and a lot of protein, especially from beef. Especially with the raw eggs, my energy in every aspect, my creativity in every aspect was through the roof when I was consuming a lot of eggs. And I think the honey will be there to keep me sane, still give me a little bit of that dopamine hit that I was talking about. And lastly, from more of a physique and strength perspective, like I mentioned in the previous video as well, I'm not necessarily disappointed with my physique, but I'm also not super happy with it. Things I'm not extremely happy about, well, this is a little bit less with physique and more with health. My skin occasionally still flares up, especially on my back and shoulders area. I think the things that are having negative effects on it are things like carbs, particularly from starches. I'm not necessarily saying those are bad, but for me personally, where my health is currently at with my gut, those seem to flare up issues with acne on my back and shoulders, and they diminish when I have less starchy carbs. I'm not going to have any of those for this 100 days. So I'm expecting skin overall to be better. I do have some sort of birthmark that's gone along the side of my arm for basically since I was born, and I don't know if it's vitiligo or anything like that. I don't think it has changed shape over the course of my life, but who knows? If that does change during this, I wouldn't be entirely surprised. And then more so on the physique side, my posture is something that I've been working on for quite some time. My shoulders are fairly rounded in from so much computer work and so much sitting, and my posture when sitting is also fairly slouched. I tend to ride my hips forward, so I'm looking forward to see with the gym progress and eating such a high quality, nutrient dense way. Let's see what happens. I've also been putting a lot of work into my arms, back, and core areas. So I'm excited to see what sort of gains I can make there as well. And I'm also expecting to get leaner and at the very least maintain my weight, if not gain weight during this experiment. So I'm excited for that. And I'm also expecting my sleep to drastically improve. Been having trouble falling asleep for the last few weeks. I'm not entirely sure why. It'll be 10:30, 11, and I'm kind of wired with energy, even though I haven't had caffeine. And I normally don't fall asleep till around 12 or 12:30. And getting up at 6:30 or 7 has been difficult lately. So I think this sort of full dietary reset might help out in some way. But really overall, like I said, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the mental clarity that might come from it. I've heard a lot of that comes from the carnivore diet, but again, I don't want to go all the way there because I don't know if I could do that for 100 days, to be completely honest. and I still want to maintain some carbs in there. One, for the extra boost of energy in the gym, and two, I don't want to lose so much weight like people have done on the carnivore diet, and I don't necessarily want to replace all of those calories with just pure fat. I don't personally believe that's the best way to go, especially for me and my own body personally. So it's kind of just the before, where my head's at. I'm excited. Hopefully this excitement stays for the duration of the 100 days. And I will have a video at the end kind of showing everything that's happened.